Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver, is out on Netflix right now. Is it as bad as people are making it out to be? It's on 13% at the time of recording on Rotten Tomatoes. Well, in my opinion, yes, it is that bad. This movie had me cringing. It had me looking at my screen like, why am I even sitting here through this? I wanted to turn it off at multiple stages. It is that bad. I actually ended up liking Part 1 more than most people. I think I gave it like 3.5 stars at the time, when a lot of other people were giving it 2s and max 3 stars, and that was a max, by the way. And this time I just sat through this and I was like, this is incredibly bad. The use of slow motion is so overused that it just gets to the point that you're sitting there like, what went through Zack Snyder's head to think that this was a good idea? And I read last night that someone actually questioned him after the movie, and there was a Q&A, and they were like, why is there so much slow motion? And he said, oh, slow motion makes everything look really cool and makes it look heroic and makes it look badass. And it's like, no, when you're using 90% of your movie in slow motion, it just completely ruins the purpose. And yeah, if you thought Part 1 had a lot of slow motion, be prepared, because Part 2 is even worse. And honestly, the first like hour of this movie is just farming. Like, it's farming and flashbacks. F and F. There you go. There is literally a 5-minute sequence of farmers just plowing wheat, and it goes on so incredibly long in slow motion. It's just terrible. And then there's also a moment, and this just hammers home how bad this script is, that the main 6 characters that are recruited in Part 1, they're sitting down at a table and they're like, let's all tell each other one thing about each other that we don't know. And then it just proceeds to do like a 3-minute flashback on each character just so you get to know them a little bit more. It's lazy. It was so obviously just put there so that you can kind of know a little bit more about these characters. But that brings me to the characters. They're the most unlikable, forgettable bunch that I've ever seen. I honestly watched Part 1 5 months ago, just like everybody else. And at the start, Anthony Hopkins' character does like a monologue about Part 1 and recaps the whole thing and mentions these characters' names, and I forgot every single one of them. That is how forgettable they are. And then as the movie goes on, you're like, oh yeah, there's him. Oh yeah, forgot he was in this one. It's just so bad. They have no script to work with, so I can't really blame the actors. It is the script. But yeah, look, it's just terrible. I'm not going to actually go on about this movie anymore because it's that bad. The last thing I will say though is that I find it increasingly embarrassing that almost everything Zack Snyder does has to have an extended Snyder Cut. Like, there's talks already about like Zack saying, oh no, my extended or rated versions are the main movies. Then why are you releasing this? Like, honestly, why are you making people sit through a cut together an unfinished piece of work that you've made just so that they can come back and watch the R-rated and longer version? Like, if you can't make a good movie the first time, then why are you trying? And look, I'm not a director, and of course he's made some great movies, but it's becoming really embarrassing that his movies are just becoming like Snyder cuts that need to happen. No, they don't need to happen. Make the movie right the first time. And I mean, yeah, I'm going to watch the R-rated cut because I want to see if it actually does improve this movie. But like, why every time Zack Snyder releases a movie do we have to wait to see his real version? It's bad. It's really bad. And I actually don't think that people are going to necessarily come back to sit in this universe again, because I mean, the characters are all unlikable. The movies were both very bad. Like, yeah, the Justice League is the Justice League. They're some of the most well-known characters ever, but you're setting up a new universe and you should be hitting a home run straight away to hook people in. Instead, you're saying, this is a bit shit, but come back in like a year's time and you'll see what I actually wanted you to see. Nah, I'm not here for that. I think it's quite embarrassing. Yeah, but Rebel Moon, it is as bad as people are making it out to be. I probably wouldn't waste your time with this. If you've seen Part 1, you're probably going to just want to sit through Part 2 to see if it is any better. It's actually worse than Part 1, and that was kind of hard in the first place. So I'm going to have to give Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver, 1.5 stars, a 3.5 out of 10. The only redeeming qualities are the soundtrack, which actually is quite good, and some, and I only mean some, of the action sequences that don't have slow motion riddled throughout them. Those are the only good things about this movie. Characters are forgettable. Cinematography is meh. Like, some shots aren't even in focus. Honestly, like, you're looking at some shots and you're like, why is it blurry? just terrible. And I just don't like this formula of extended cuts being needed to show the final finished product of a movie. Rebel Moon, the Scargiver, have you seen it? What do you think about it? I've seen other reviewers on here saying that it is just as bad, so I'm excited to kind of delve into it in the comment section below. If you liked this video, drop me a follow as well, and I'll see you in the next one.